Wild race out in Daytona with the playoffs looming, cars on fire on pit road. Josh Berry with a hard upside-down head-on crash. Michael McDowell getting T-boned by Joey Logano and almost going over. SBG grenading his engine on the super stretch, and playoff hopes coming to an end for a few drivers with an upset historic win for a guy that was already fired.
High, push it, checker flag, hell yeah!
What's the caution for? Me?
Can I not push it in?
Stop anybody.
Come on, he's going! Way to go, boys!
One hell of a job, man, one hell of a job. Thank you so much.
I love Daytona, and it's not just because I keep winning there in iRacing. Welcome on into Shifting Gears. I'm a very tickled Alan Bailey. Welcome on into the program. I'm honestly just dumbfounded in just how insane that race was. Multiple times, my jaw was on the floor. I literally screamed out, "Oh my God," at the top of my lungs at least 3 times during this race. You have the Wood brothers picking up the win with Harrison Burton getting his first victory. You had kind of a Dale and Dale show moment, kind of, but not really. We're gonna get on into it, but before we do, make sure that you mash that subscribe button so that you don't miss a video. And of course, make sure that you log on to arnrace.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. Oh, so much to talk about. The playoff bubble is forever changed, but let's actually go through everything that we saw in this race kind of in order. Front Row Motorsports, first off. Massive achievement for them. Not only do they put their car on the pole, but they sweep the front row. Never been done in that team's history. Big moment for them. Not really a surprise, if I'm being honest. Ford very strong early on in this race, and especially in qualifying. They were all up there. All of the Fords were. At the end of stage number 1, Josh Berry with his very first stage victory. Very cool. He got it with a push from the 17 right there into turn 3. Really cool. But then at the end of stage 1, we had the first big moment of the race. Massive fire on pit road. Apparently, and this is a wacky set of just chain of events that could never have been foreseen. Just 1 in a million chances here on this one. Apparently, what had happened is a little bit of fuel, barely a little cupful, spilled onto the pit road. And unfortunately, Denny Hamlin tried to exit his pit. His car backfired, which shot flames out of the tailpipes, which ignited the fuel that was on the ground, which led to a bigger pile underneath the 99 as he was exiting, and it set the number 99 car on fire. I thought it was very just strange, unusual, and very funny that you have Suarez who just casually doesn't know that his car is on fire. Oh, I'm on fire. Oh, let me get out real quick. That was hysterical to me, honestly. But his rearview mirror isn't there. He goes off the digital one, which is on the back of the car. So literally behind the flames, he didn't see anything on the camera. And he didn't see the flames in the cockpit coming in closer to the cockpit. So the camera angle that they showed on TV was just eerie, to say the least. But he got out of the car. He was fine. Huge disappointment, obviously. But still a very whoa moment right there for NASCAR and for Trackhouse. We did have a couple of big one moments in this race. First one happened around lap 60. Basically, the 7 got a pushed the 10 car and couldn't hold it. It was too much, and Corey LaJoie sets off a massive wreck. And it was a big one. There was about 18-ish cars involved in it. Some big names out early on for this one. Denny Hamlin was one of the bigger names that was effectively knocked out of this one. Chase Elliott as well. And you had other drivers who sustained damage that were able to continue, like Larson, Blaney, Dillon, etc. This was a big one. Internet went down around this time, and teams couldn't get accurate data with SMT with how much fuel was in the car and where they were with that. So it really threw a monkey wrench to some of these crew chiefs who were leaning into the newer technology. And the old school crew chiefs just pulled out calculators and kept going, but the new school ones were definitely freaking out there for a minute during that caution. Round lap 81, we see a caution, flat tire for Eric Jones on his Toyota out of Legacy, while simultaneously Shane Van Gisbergen grenades his engine going down the back straightaway. This is around the time the internet started to come back up on pit road, and unfortunately, I think that something happened that they couldn't see happening until it was clearly far too late. Very good luck for the 43. They cut a tire down going down the back straightaway, and because of the grenaded engine out of Colleague, more or less it kept them from losing laps, which is a very lucky situation for them. SVG cannot wait to get out of those Colleague cars, truthfully. He's going over to Trackhouse full-time next year, and you could just tell he's upset every single time he has to get into a Colleague car. He came literally on the other side of the planet, to the other side of the planet, to race for Trackhouse in NASCAR, and he is finally going to get that next year. Go check out the video that we put up actually earlier Saturday about SVG jumping up into the Cup Series full-time next year and what the entire 2025 silly season looks like. Link is in our channel description. So you had a couple of different strategies playing out right there with about 50 laps to go. Single filed out, and we saw the 34 getting the lead and holding on to it for a while, but then we see Justin Haley in the 51 for Rick Ware with a power move around 42 laps to go, put himself in the lead. They single filed out for a good 10, 20-ish laps, give or take, and you really saw that Rick Ware came to play both of those cars in the top 8 under green, and there was no strategy that put them up there. They powered their way to the front, and they were going to be up there in the closing laps, and they were for the rest of the race. But then with about 21 laps to go, the 42 gets spun. This incident, I'm going to go ahead and scream. This is why we do not have grass on the back stretch. It is stupid. All it does is it creates an environment where cars can barrel roll. Because there was no grass back there, the 42 spun down there. It was a single car spin. He kept it off the wall. He kept it out of the grass, barely. We need to remove all the grass, by the way, Daytona, and all NASCAR tracks, and all racetracks for that matter, because he came very close to that grass, but kept all 4 tires on the ground, and that shark fin at the moment appeared to work. At this point in the race, we all said the shark fin worked. It's awesome. No grass. It's awesome. Everything's great. By the way, 20 laps to go in Daytona. This is going to be crazy, and it certainly was. Everything was crazy intense right there for about 10 laps once we went back racing. And then 9 to go, we get another big one. This time the 34 gets turned down in front of the 22 and goes up and almost over. No idea how that car stayed on the ground and didn't just get so much worse. We've seen crashes similar to this in the past where cars have gone up into the catch fence and tumbled down the racetrack. It was very reminiscent of Tony Stewart getting turned at Talladega about 10 years ago, give or take, except Stewart actually did go all the way over. So I do think that the fin helped to keep the 34 from barrel rolling and going all the way over. He came back down and landed on the wall technically, but still kept it on the racetrack, and that is what NASCAR needs to strive for. And that is at least the scariest moment we had up until this point. We all kind of went, oh my God, that was insane. And then 2 laps to go after we went back racing. No overtime at this point yet. Josh Berry gets turned, and unfortunately, he goes up and over, slides on his roof, head on into the inside wall down the back straightaway. This is dangerous for many reasons, obviously. Not only is a car flipping again for the second week in a row in NASCAR, but you also had him hitting that wall head on. That impact is dangerous because he's not down in the seat with everything holding him down and secure. He's effectively resting on those belts. All of that pressure is on the belts. Those belts are designed to hold him down, not necessarily 100% of the weight like in this situation, but they kept him safe. They got the car flipped back over. He got out and was able to walk away with no injuries, according to all reports from the track. So just a brilliant, honestly, move with creating the halo for these drivers, because the cockpit itself of this next-gen car is significantly sturdier, and it does hold up significantly better in barrel roll, big disaster type crashes like this. Looking at the actual car after the wreck, when they're taking it off the track, the actual roll bars of the car held up incredibly well. No, we're not going to get rid of cars flipping over entirely in NASCAR. I know that is a subject matter that we've been kind of talking about in the NASCAR sphere for the last week or so, but It's not going to happen. It is physically impossible. You have airliners that weigh literally anywhere from 3 to 6 times more than what these cup cars are doing, and they're only doing anywhere from 120 to 160 miles an hour. These cars are pushing 200 miles an hour, and at Daytona, they're doing closer to 185, 190-ish, but that is still an incredible amount of speed for these cars that are extraordinarily light. Physics takes over. We're not going to keep these cars glued to the racetrack forever, but NASCAR adding shark fins and doing things to the cars with the flaps and everything are going to help to keep these cars on the ground more than if they weren't there at all. So it's about reducing the risk of a flip, not preventing it altogether. That's something that we need to get through our heads in the NASCAR world and in the motorsports world for that matter. It's never going to go away, unfortunately. Massive red flag right there because of that flip. Everybody walked away. Unfortunately, it took out about 14 cars, give or take. And now we got kind of into the, here comes the back of the pack towards the front of the pack. You're seeing, frankly, an interesting set of drivers near the front. You did have Kyle Busch on the inside. You had Burton on the outside. And it's like, wow, these are two guys that have not won yet this year. Kyle Busch in desperate need of a victory in order to extend his 19-year winning streak in the NASCAR Cup Series this season. He needs to win again sometime in the next 11 weeks in order to keep that streak going. And you had Harrison Burton, who is not going to be in that 21 car next year, who is currently looking for a ride. Yes, he's talking with teams, but nothing is really panning out for him right now. Frankly, the last couple of years in the Cup Series has been rough for him, and him winning at Daytona for the Wood Brothers would have been huge. And guess what? Kyle Busch takes the lead on the white flag, holds it through most of the white flag, then going down the back straightaway, Harrison Burton makes a move, and guess what? Harrison Burton and the Wood Brothers go to victory lane in Daytona. They are in the playoffs in 2024. What? No one saw this coming. No one. I don't even need to look at the odds. I'm willing to bet it was 1,000,000 to 1 odds that Harrison Burton was going to win at Daytona, sincerely. But he does. And there was a moment coming off of 4 where he's blocking Kyle Busch. I thought Harrison was going to get turned around. I think Busch thought Harrison was going to get turned around there for a second. And somehow he didn't. He did get moved below the double yellow line. This is a big no-no in NASCAR. That is there to prevent cars from going into the grass, from going onto pit road, frankly, and pulling some really extreme dangerous moves. And NASCAR looked at that finish, looked at everything coming off of turn 4, and within minutes of the finish, almost seconds of the finish, they said, yeah, Harrison Burton was forced down there by Kyle Busch. That ruling is official, and there is no question in anybody's mind that he was. There was significant contact off the bumper of the A car. The onboard of Kyle Busch's car confirms that there was significant contact with him and Harrison Burton, and because of that, NASCAR said, Harrison was forced down there. He keeps the win and gets into the playoffs. And that is a massive moment, not only for Harrison Burton, who wins in his 98th start in the Cup Series. It is the 100th victory for the Wood Brothers. That is massive. They're one of the original teams in NASCAR. They've been around for most of the 75 plus years now in NASCAR. And for Harrison Burton to do this on his way out, he gets out of the car, says, all I wanted to do was give this team all that I had. I know I'm not coming back next year, but I'm still out here trying. And now they're in the playoffs. The guy who came into this race 34th in the points is now in the playoffs in the top 16. He has locked himself in. It is official. Huh? What? I'm a little dumbfounded on this, honestly. No one expects Harrison Burton to honestly go far in the playoffs, and I don't think Harrison Burton does either, and neither does the Wood Brothers, but what if him literally just keeping his nose clean gets him out of the first round? He's going to blow up somebody's playoff bracket, and I am here for this. Team Chaos all the way, baby. Let's go. But seriously, this is a very, very, very cool thing for the Wood Brothers to get this. It puts the Wood Brothers in an interesting position because now you have to celebrate Harrison Burton as the guy who's been your driver for the last few years and the guy who got you that 100th victory. Harrison has forever written his name in the NASCAR history books because of this victory. If it was for any other team, it would be a cool thing and it would be the Justin Haley Daytona win, we wouldn't remember it, which, by the way, was 5 years ago this weekend, which is insane to me. And now, because Harrison Burton wins for the Wood Brothers, gets that 100th victory, he's forever part of a very, very elite club in the NASCAR Cup Series, which is so damn cool for him. I thought it kind of sucked that NBC put a little bit of a muffle on Jeff Burton. I've sat next to Jeff Burton. I actually remember sitting probably 2 people away from him on a bar at the LA Coliseum for the heat races with his son. And let me tell you, very little of that conversation can I repeat on the air because Jeff Burton was a very passionate soccer dad in that moment. Let's just call him that. He's saying, no, you got to cut down. No, pick the inside. What are you doing on the outside? It was absolutely hysterical, and I got to see Jeff Burton for all that he was. No, I didn't record him. No, I didn't bug him. I gave him, privacy, but I was sitting there just like, oh my God, I'm not here. I'm going to just be a fly on the wall, invisible. Just avoid this guy because my goodness. And I know I'm rambling, but I'm honestly dumbfounded on this one. Congratulations to Harrison Burton. I'm blown away. And now the playoff bubble looks even crazier. 13 drivers are locked in because of victories, except for the 3-car. Yes, I know he has his second appeal hearing coming this week, but I don't expect anything to change. I don't think he's going playoff racing at the moment. Truex is plus 58 right now, 14th in the points. You have the Gibbs boy right there, plus 39, and you have the 17, who is 16th in the points right now, plus 21. On the outside looking in, you have Bubba Wallace, minus 21. You have the one of Chastain, who is 27 points out. And 19th in the point standings, you have Kyle Busch, who is 106 points out, going into the final regular season race out at Darlington this weekend. Win and you're in, and Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, the one car, they're in the win and you're in situation. Anybody who's not in these points is not in right now is win and you're in territory, period, because the 19 is pretty safe, the 54 pretty safe, but anything can happen sincerely, and obviously the 17 is not safe. He's only 21 to the good. I think that you could see these 3 drivers who are in at the moment stay in after next week, but I honestly don't know who's going to be in this postseason. These last 3 spots are going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a massive story that we follow all night when the Southern 500 is happening, which is bizarre to me. We should be talking about the playoff field right now, but the Olympic scheduling threw everything for a loop, so here we are, and it's all good because we still have a lot of great racing to go. 11 races to go. Who do you think is going to make the 2024 NASCAR playoffs? Let me know in the comments down below, and while you're there, make sure that you go ahead and mash that subscribe button so that you do not miss a video, and of course, make sure that you log on to arnrace.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. That's going to go ahead and do it for me. I really enjoyed Daytona, sincerely. I love Daytona. It's going to be a really great push for the rest of the season. So for Shifting Gears, I'm Alan Bailey. We'll see you at the track.